This NFL Week 14 pregame show edition of the Propcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with promo code MACHINE to get a 50% deposit bonus of up to $1,000. We're also brought to you by Rebet, a new sportsbook available in 45 states. Download Rebet in your app store and use promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit match up to $100. And we're also brought to you by Rhythm. Start crushing college football and the NFL with Rhythm. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM.
And taking a shot to ground downfield. He makes the catch, and he gets in for the touchdown. The catch is made by Calvin Ridley. Wilson, what as he throws deep downfield. It's going to be caught by Metcalf.
Welcome, everyone, to the Propcast NFL Week 14 pregame show edition here of the Propcast. You guys know how we do it here. We'll go through every single game on the Sunday card, give you our player props. We'll put together our touchdown parlay for the week, and we'll close it out with a underdog fantasy entry as well here for NFL Week 14. But joining me, as usual, here to help me break everything down from the player prop perspective for Week 14 in the National Football League. You guys know him as the voice of the NBA Gambling Podcast, the MLB Gambling Podcast, and of course, here with me on the Propcast on Sunday mornings. I got my guy here with me. It's Lonte Smith. Lonte, what's going on, brother? NFL Week 14.
Yeah, man, excited. Decent matchups. I think more excited about the props that we have that I have in store to give out. So I think we've been doing pretty good on the show. Man, I need to bounce back after college football. So I'm looking forward to this. Happy Sunday to you. I hope you're doing well as well.
Yeah, the week has been pretty good. You know, we were briefly just talking offline. Yesterday, or at least I gave a lot back to the books, but hopefully we have a big Sunday here, and we can get to the windows early and often and throughout every hour, I want to say, here on the Sunday say, because we got college basketball, we got NBA, of course, NFL here as well. So hopefully it is a big day all across the landscape. Monte, let's just get into it here, man. We got a lot of fun matchups here, and we'll start off here with the Carolina Panthers. They are in Philly to take on the Eagles. Eagles are laying 14 points in this game with a total of 45 here. Any player props you like in this matchup?
Yes, I think this is an interesting game. I know Sean put down that $3 million, to win what $475K. So I'm rooting for
trying
him.
to pay off the house,
Yeah. I understand that. So but I think I think this might be the fastest game that we have today. I think it could end at like 3:00 because I think we're gonna see a lot of running.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll see a lot of passing at all. I mean, I know people are expecting Carolina to be in a negative game script, but even when they're in negative game scripts, they don't really throw a ton. So I'm going to go with one of my favorite ones. I'm playing a lot of unders. So I'm going Jalen Hurts under 25.5 pass attempts.
Yep.
He's under in 7 of his last 9. He's also under his completions in 6 of those 9. So if you want to take that into consideration as well, I think we see a heavy dose of Saquon Barkley. Carolina rush defense is pretty bad. And if you look at Hurts, he's only had 13 more completions than rush attempts in his last 3 games. So, and I think that's been the key to their success in turning around their offense. Is him not being able to throw the ball, put the ball in harm's way, or make those throws and just stay ahead of the chains. 2nd and 6, 3rd and 3. You want to keep him in between that and not 2nd and long and 3rd and long. So I think we see a ton of Saquon Barkley, a ton of Jalen Hurts using his legs. So I like Jalen Hurts under 25.5 pass attempts.
Yeah, that's one of the ones that I think makes a lot of sense for everything that you did mention here for the Eagles. I think we see a heavy dose of Saquon Barkley in this game. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he has another game out there that he goes out for 700. I mean, 700.
Well, maybe.
I mean, yeah, with this rush defense, 150 plus rushing yards. I think maybe the last guy we've seen that have a number like this on his rushing yard prop prior to the game is probably CMC. But Saquon is right now is at 113.5 for his rushing yards. So I think it's another big week for him. I would take a look at taking it up to 150 plus. I'll talk about another player that I do like to have a big game on the ground and maybe parlay those two together for 150 plus here. So yeah, I agree with you about Jalen Hurts. I think Bryce Young has really that time off that he had there where he got benched or whatever the case might be. I think really helped him out.
Yeah, I agree.
he's gonna have to throw the football obviously in this game. I still see people on the unders just because I understand because the Eagles secondary has been really, really good. But just according to game script right now, even if they are down a touchdown or even 10 points, you're gonna have to throw the football. So Bryce Young, I think I would look at that over 192.5 on his passing yards. I can definitely shop around and get the best numbers when we talk about these player props. Anything else for Panthers Eagles?
No, I see William was asking about Chuba. I think, yeah, I think Chuba's probably their best weapon, and with the secondary has been playing so well for Philadelphia, I think he might be in for some check downs. So I would look at his rush receiving yards over. I looked at his rush yards, but I kind of scratched it out just because of game script. But again, if Carolina is competitive, at least 7 to 10 points, like one or two possessions, I think they can still try to run the ball. They've had success running the ball. You mentioned Bryce has been a lot better. Play action pass, screens. I think they'll try to not throw into the teeth of the defense and try to get underneath. So yeah, I think I like Chuba Hubbard rush receiving. So I'm kind of with William here.
All right. Let's keep it rolling here. Let's get over to the Las Vegas Raiders. They are in Tampa to take on the Buccaneers. Currently, as it stands, the Bucs are a 6.5-point home favorite with a total of 47 in this game here. Lonte, anything for Raiders and Bucs?
Yeah, so I like both tight ends in this game. I mean, how can you not like Brock Bowers? But we'll start with him. I see. So his numbers all over the place. I see 71. I see 71.5. I see 72.5. I see 73.5. Just shop around for the best number. I guess for grading purposes, we'll go with 72.5. Tampa Bay is without 6 key defenders, 3 linebackers, 2 corners. One of them is a nickel. And a safety. So 6 key defenders are out for Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
I mean, even if they were in, Brock Bowers is getting targeted. He's got 10 plus targets in 3 straight games.
He's leading the league in targets in last 3 weeks.
Yeah. So Tampa's allowing almost 90 yards to the tight end position. That's obviously worse than the NFL. And Brock's got some history that he's chasing after. He's got 2 catches to break the most receptions by a rookie. He's got 193 yards to break the record for most yards by a rookie tight end, and I think he has like 200 plus yards to set the tight end record for receiving yards as well. So, I think he has a monster day. I'm looking at like 10 for 97, 98 yards here.
Yeah.
So, over 72.5 receiving yards for Brock Bowers, and on the other side, I like Cade Otton, 41 and over 41.5 receiving yards. He's under in 3 straight, but he's had opportunities. He's been targeted a bunch. He's had 4 catches in 2 of his 3 games that he's went under. Just not converting those into yards. But if you look at his home splits, he's over in 4 of his 5 games at home. And, look, the Vegas, they play a lot of too high, so they're going to give it up underneath. Kelsey and Gray both, they throttled this pass defense, like 7 for 68, 4 for 58 for Gray. Jonathan Smith had 8 for 101 and 2 touchdowns. Gesicki had 5 for 100 and 2 touchdowns. So I love Cade Otton. I love his receiving props, love his receptions, and I'm going to sprinkle for him to score 2 touchdowns here. I think he has a big day.
Yeah, I love it. I'm on Brock Bowers here as well. This was the first one I circled early in the week. It opened up at 66.5, and the money has just poured in on the over here at I do see 71.5s out there. FanDuel, BetMGM. If you have
it's everywhere, man. It's all over the place.
So again, like Lonte Smith said, shop around for the best number for Brock Bowers. But yeah, 100% agree with you. O'Connell completions I like as well. I think that they are trailing in this game, but you also mentioned all the injuries in the secondary there for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think that they'll have to come out and I think throw the football. I know they have Amir Abdullah in the backfield there, but I don't know how effective he's really going to be, at least in the running game. I know in the passing game he can be a huge weapon for the Raiders there, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Raiders actually go in there and actually win this game outright. But you also take a look, opposing quarterbacks over the last 4-5 weeks, opposing quarterbacks have had 22 or more completions in those games. So we just need one more here for Aidan O'Connell to get up and over this number of 22.5. I do see out there. Consensus right now is at 23.5. There's a 22.5 at Bet Rivers, but mostly 23.5 on his completions there. I think that's it. Bucky Irving has been really good for this team as well.
Banged up though, right?
Yeah, I think he's banged up, so I think it might just be the Rashad White game. But
Baker banged up as well.
Yeah, so I think that this might just turn out to maybe some dump offs and things like that for Tampa offense. But definitely they do like Brock Bowers in this game for sure. All right, let's keep it rolling here. Next game on the board, we'll get over to the Cleveland Browns, they are in Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers. Steelers laying 6.5 points in this game with a total of 43.5. Steelers looking for some revenge from the Week 12 Thursday night football game, that snow game where they did lose to the Browns. But here they are at home hosting the division rival, 43.5 for the total. Lonte, anything for this game?
Yeah, one of my favorite ones of probably top 3, I think, of the day. I like Calvin Austin over 14.5 for his longest reception. He's over in 7 of 12, which includes not a ton of like routes run early in the season. Like early in the season, he was only on the field a few plays here and there. And this is also, I mean, when you switch that transition from Fields to Wilson with the deep ball, then you can kind of see his progression in his numbers. So this is also on a low volume of catches. So one catch could pretty much do this. He's only had more than 2 catches 3 times all year. And with Pickens is a bit banged up, I know he's going to go, but he's still a bit banged up. I think Austin will be used a bit more to kind of stretch the field. And since week 6, he's averaging 25.7 on his longest reception, and that includes 46 2 weeks ago versus Cleveland. So I think Calvin Austin can have a significant impact. I mean, he's good after the catch, so he can catch a little tunnel screen and go, 15, 16 yards and get this. So I like him over 14.5 or his longest reception. We're going to go with the under on Najee Harris, 64.5 rushing yards. He's under in 3 of his last 4. He's got solid volume as well. He's getting like 15, 16 carries. That included actually 16 for 41 2 weeks ago against Cleveland. Cleveland's defense, you want to attack them in the secondary. Their front 7 has been pretty good. Myles Garrett has been good. I'm watching to see. I know his hamstring kind of bothering him last week, so I want to see if he's going to be 100%. But I mean, Pittsburgh's been more pass happy and more effective in the pass game as of late. If you look at what Russell's been doing, I mean, he's had 35 plus attempts in 2 of his last 3. So they're passing the ball a ton. I just don't think that Najee will be able to get going here. I think they'll use more the short pass game, maybe some Jalen Warren, who's a little bit more explosive than what Najee is. So give me Najee Harris under 64.5.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned them throwing the deep ball, and Russell Wilson has been absolutely fantastic at that. The number right now for his longest completion is at 38.5. Back-to-back weeks, he's at 43 plus. First 2 starts he had against the 2 New York teams, 44, 43. So he's had 4 of the 6 games where he's had 43 or more longest reception. So hopefully that goes to Calvin Austin in this game.
Yeah.
I do like that for Russell Wilson. I also do like Jalen Warren on his receiving yards in this game, up and over the number. This opened at 17.5. It's up to 18.5. I still see 17.5s out there, so definitely shop around. He's getting involved more and more in the passing game. 4 targets in each of the last 3 weeks. He's had 19 or more receiving yards in the last 3 weeks. 4 weeks, I should say. 29 against the Commanders, 27 against the Ravens. He had 19 against his Browns team, and then 55 last week against the Cincinnati Bengals. So, 4 straight weeks here. I do like that. This is one of my favorite props as well. So I think it's very correlated. Like, you don't like Najee this week. I like Jalen Warren to up and over his number for his receiving yards. I think it's a huge letdown spot for the Browns coming off that short week on Monday Night Football. I know, Jerry Jeudy had the big revenge game last week against Denver. Maybe a little bit of a letdown spot here for him, but I really like the Steelers in this game. I think the 6.5. I think they come out and just absolutely destroy this team.
First quarter, first half. I think it's a better. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that if you also want to, this is a good teaser leg as well on a 6-point teaser if you want to bring them down and pair with somebody else. So.
Yep.
Definitely love the Steelers here this week. Anything else for this game, Lonte?
No, I didn't have it. Didn't have much.
All right, let's get over to the Jets and the Dolphins in Miami. 6.5 is also the number in this game in favor of the home team, the Miami Dolphins. Total's also at 45 in this game here. I thought there was some injury news in this game, but let me see if I can find anything.
Yeah, I think Brees is out.
Brees, that was the one. Yeah, Brees is out. Brees is confirmed out. They're not shutting him down completely, but there is a chance that he does play this week. And also, Sauce Gardner is doubtful in this game as well.
Yeah, so 2 things, both on the one on each side. So I like Devon Achane over 100.5 rush receiving yards. Now, full disclosure, the past 2 times I've took him, he's been horrible. I think he had 80 and 56. But one of those were in the cold against, was it Buffalo? I think Buffalo. Or no, Green Bay. I'm sorry. It was against Green Bay on Thanksgiving. Yeah, so he's been underwhelming. But if you look at just the totality of what he's been doing and mixed in with what the Jets have been doing, I mean, Jets 26 versus the run, and he's over in 4 of 6 at home. He's had 30-plus receiving yards in 4 of his last 6. He's had 4-plus receptions in 5 of his last 6. So the volume is there. I think in this specific matchup, I mean, the Jets, the season is over. I mean, it's just pretty much a pride thing.
Yeah.
Miami, I think, still has an outside shot. I think they got to win out to kind of get the wild card.
Got to win out. It gets a lot of help.
Yeah. So, I mean, still a little bit of motivation here. And if you look at what dual threat backs have done against this Jets defense, James Conner, 111, Benson, 87, and that was in the same game. So, Mixon, 108, Najee, 102, Ray Davis had 152. So, I think dual threat backs have been really good against the Jets, especially on the ground. So I think Devon Achane, Mostert's unavailable here as well. So I think he should see a ton of carries. And I mean, obviously he's going to get the targets downfield with in the slot with Tua throwing the ball. So I also like Tyler Conklin over 2.5 receptions plus it's plus 18 and plus 18.5 receiving yards. I think that's pretty much correlated.
Yep.
Miami struggles versus tight ends. And, you know, Conklin's not been good as of late, like numbers-wise, but he does get targeted a bunch. And Miami ranks 24th DVOA versus tight ends. And they've allowed tight ends to have 4-plus receptions in their last 6 straight. So when Conklin's had 4-plus catches, or 3-plus catches, he's clearing this in 4 of 6 this year. So we should see, you know, quite a bit of passing with the Jets trying to keep up with this Miami offense. So Tyler Conklin, primetime candidate to have a big game. I mean, we can get 3 for 20 here. I think that's really the floor. So I think I got him closer to like 27, 5 and 27. So I like both of those over.
Yeah, I couldn't talk you off of that. In his career, I want to say he's been really good against the Dolphins as well. Trying to pull up the number. You said 18.5 was a receiving yards number?
Yeah, but shop around. 18.5 is like reduced like minus 117. You can get 17.5 like minus 120, just depending on how much juice you want to get. But anywhere between 17.5 and 18.5. But I think it's good all the way up to like 22.
Yeah, he had a game. I mean, this was all the way back when. But last season, 33 receiving yard game and then an 18 receiving yard game. But the targets have been there for him in those 2 games.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
They have been there recently as well. I didn't have much for this game. I think maybe Jalen Waddle, if you look at his receptions to go over, I feel like he's kind of broken out after, you know, the last couple of weeks. Or at least to say the slow start to the season. Last couple of weeks has been pretty good for Jalen Waddle. For the Miami Dolphins. Jonnu Smith, you're getting priced out now because we were getting this at a big discount a couple weeks ago. So hopefully he's in on your fantasy teams and he does well for you guys. But I think at this point, I think he's a little bit priced out in my opinion. 49.5 right now is the number. All right, let's keep it rolling here. Next game on the board, we'll get to the Atlanta Falcons. They are visiting the Minnesota Vikings in this game. Vikings also laying 6 points in this game with a total of 47. Of course, a big storyline in this game. The return of Kirk Cousins to Minnesota. Not sure what the injury extent is to Kirk Cousins because last week he did have 4 interceptions, a couple of noodle throws out there, noodle arm throws. But I know a lot of people are talking about the revenge factor here. But I what I'm gonna do is if I see him, if he has zip on his throws in that first drive, I'll probably bet him live on the his passing yards to go over. But I just need him to see that maybe last week was a fugazi, and that the Chargers defense is that good. So that's kind of where I'm at in this game here. I didn't have much else for Falcons Vikings, but what do you got, Lonte?
Yeah, one of my favorite props of the day, Jetta over 84 receiving yards. I think you can find that.
Yeah.
It's like you can shop around. You could probably find 83.5, 82.5. But I'm going to ladder him up to 100 plus. If you look at what he's been doing against, at home, he's got 47 receptions for 542 yards in his home games. That's an average of 6 catches for 90 yards. We know Atlanta struggle with a bunch of pass catchers. If you look at some of the things, so Arizona had 3 pass catchers to have 50 plus. Denver had 3 wide receivers to have 50 plus. New Orleans, 2 players with 50 plus, and Tampa had 4 players with 35 plus. So they're struggling to defend. They can't get a pass rush. So I just think that Jetta has a really, really big game. He was kind of underwhelming last week, but at home, like I said, I think he comes to play. McConkey had 117 last week versus Atlanta. MVS 109, DK 899. So wide receiver ones are, having quite a day against this Atlanta secondary. So I like Jetta over 84 receiving yards. Anything under that is fine. I'm gonna ladder him up to 100 yards. I think he has a big day, a couple touchdowns as well. And I'm gonna go with Aaron Jones under 60.5 rushing yards. Now Atlanta doesn't have a pass rush. They can't get to the quarterback, but their rush defense is pretty solid. If you look at what they've done over the past 4 or 5 games, Edwards and Vital last week combined for 52. All 3 Denver running backs were under 60 yards. So that's McLaughlin, Javonte Williams, and also Audric Esime, who each had I think 5 or 6 carries, still under that number. Kamara, 55 yards. Irvin and White combined for 73, and both of those guys went under, of course. So in totality, only one back out of the last 9 running backs they faced have gone over this, and that was Rico Dowdle. He had 75. Aaron Jones, fumble issues as well. 4 fumbles in his last 3, only 5 carries last week, and he's under in 2 of his last 3. So not sure what his role is going to be as far as if it's going to be expanded or not, but I expect the Atlanta rush defense to come to play today.
Yeah, I think Kevin O'Connell knows the strengths, I think, of Kirk Cousins and his weaknesses. And more importantly, I think Brian Flores will put together a great game plan for that, which kind of makes me nervous on why to take Kirk Cousins overs here. But I agree about Justin Jefferson. I think this should be a big game offensively for the Minnesota Vikings in this game. If you look at his team total to go over, or for the Vikings, I think that's a good spot here. But I think offensively, they should have success in this game against the Atlanta Falcons. All right, we'll keep it rolling here. Next game on the board, we got the New Orleans Saints there in MetLife to take on the Giants. Saints currently laying 5.5 points in this game with a total of 41. A lot of injury implications on both sides here, at least offensively. I know Giants shut down a lot of their guys this past week for the remaining of the season. Saints going to be without Taysom Hill, Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed. So one of my favorite props of this week is Alvin Kamara up and over his rushing yards number. Got it at 80.5. I saw it up to 82.5 on Friday. Let me see the updated number right now. There's still some 81.5s out there, 82.5s. Consensus around 84.5. But this rush defense for the Giants, I mean, Lonte, you already know how bad it is. I mean, last couple of weeks, it just hasn't been.
Dexter Lawrence
good.
Out too.
Yeah, Dexter Lawrence out. So I think that's only going to help Alvin Kamara in this game. Last 3 weeks, Chuba Hubbard 28 for 153, Bucky Irving 12 for 88, and then Rico Dowdle last week 22 for 112. So I feel like Kamara is really the only offensive weapon right now for this Saints team. So I think it'll be a lot of handoffs. If you want to go rushing in, receiving to go over, I couldn't talk you off of that for Kamara. But I think a fun little parlay today would be Saquon and Alvin Kamara, 150 plus rushing yards each. I think that FanDuel had that at 44-1 last night. So that's my favorite prop of the week here is Alvin Kamara up and over his rushing yards number. Malik Neighbors is dealing with a hip injury. Last I saw, he was still questionable. I'll see if I can get an update on that. But yeah, Kamara is my favorite one in this game and for the week here.
Yeah, I didn't have anything. I looked at Tracy, but like his issues fumbling the ball, and I'm not sure how much like volume he's going to get, so I just scratched it off. But that's the only one that I was looking at. Neighbors banged up. I would think that they say that he's going to go. I mean, he wants to go. I think the team kind of doesn't want him to go. So he can improve that draft selection. But yeah, I didn't have much in this game. This is a terrible game.
Yeah, I mean, this is one. Excuse me, you're not going to have on your TV screen here for sure.
Watch it be the most interesting one of the day.
Yeah. So I did see Adam Schefter tweeted out about 4 hours ago, despite the fact that wide receiver Malik Neighbors has been dealing with a lingering groin injury and a hip flexor that left him questionable for Sunday's game with the Saints. The team has already eliminated the Giants, have no plans to shut him down. I don't see him if he's going to be playing or not. But would be more of a limited role. So I'm curious to see if they have his props.
I think they did have it up.
I saw last night. I think I saw 67.5.
Yeah, I think it was 60. I thought I saw 65.
Yeah, 65.5. I would still take the under on that. I think that might be something I look at here to put in. All right, let's get over to the Jacksonville Jaguars there in Tennessee to take on the Titans. Titans currently laying 3.5 points in this game with a total of 40 here. Lonte, you got anything else for this game?
Man, I'm a Will Levis boy today, man. I love Will Levis. This is my favorite prop of the day. Over 214.5 passing yards, minus 20. So shop around if you can find better than minus 20. Anything under that is fine. He's over in 3 straight. He's averaging around 262 in that span, 8.35 yards per attempt since week 10, which is 4th best in the NFL. So I think that's since he came back from his second injury. Jacksonville pass defense, atrocious, 30th DVOA versus pass and EPA per pass allowed. They're allowing 284 passing yards a game. They can't get pressure, 31st in pressure rate. So Will Levis should have time to throw the ball. Of course, we got the Calvin Ridley revenge game. So you're going to take him over, I think 56.5. I think it's short. You want to ladder him up to 100 yards. Jacksonville struggled versus wide receiver ones. So I think we see a big time connection with Will Levis and Calvin Ridley. I also will take Will Levis to 250 plus, 275, 300. So I'll be laddering him all the way up to 300. And I got sprinkle on him to lead the day in passing yards as well. I think he has a monster day.
All right. Well, Jesus, Lonte, loving Will
Levis
Levis
Will
here
Levis today.
I do like Parker Washington for the Jacksonville side. We saw last week when Mac Jones came in to replace Trevor Lawrence. He was really targeting him in that game, and he had a big week last week. Something maybe he can build off of for sure for this offense of the Jacksonville Jaguars, or lack thereof. But they're also another team that's been dealing with injuries, of course. On the offensive side, right? No Christian Kirk, obviously, for a while now. They haven't had, I think Gabe Davis is the other injury that they are dealing with over there as well. So, love Parker Washington. The number was around 31.5 for him. Let me see the updated number here for Parker Washington. That will be, yeah, it's still 30.5. So I really, really like that. Tony Pollard, I know, is another popular play this week as far as if you want to go receiving yards or rushing yards. Jacksonville's rush defense has not been very good, to say the least. So that might be another look in this game here between the Jaguars and the Titans. I think this could low-key want to be one of the games that be higher scoring.
Yeah, definitely.
This week. Anything else for Jags Titans?
That's it.
All right, let's get to the 4 o'clock window here. We'll start here with probably the biggest game of the week as far as playoff and division implications. The Seattle Seahawks, they're in Arizona to take on the Cardinals. Cardinals currently were laying 2.5 points in this game. Let me get the updated number here. It's floating between -2.5, -20, or 3 reduced juice -105. So definitely shop around if you like the Cardinals or slash the Seahawks in this game. Total is 44.5 here. Lonte, for the Seahawks, I believe Kenneth Walker III is going to be out for this game. They're hoping they get him back next week, but a big blow in a big division game here in Arizona. But what do you like in this game?
Yeah, 4 o'clock window is pretty good. This is a great game. Jackson Smith-Njigba over 5.5 receptions. I know you got to drink a little bit of juice, -125, but I think it's well worth it. I mean, he's got 20 more receptions than the next closest wide receiver, which is DK. He's over this number in 4 of his last 5. Leads them in targets since October, so he's getting 8 targets a game since October. He had 6 receptions on 7 targets versus Arizona 2 weeks ago. I think he gets peppered with targets in the middle of the field. Arizona susceptible in the middle of the field. He operates primarily in the slot, so he's staying away from the bracket coverage. Obviously, that's going to be bracketed. I mean, that's going to be tilted towards DK. So I think he's a beneficiary of that. Ton of receptions. I like his yards over as well. So I have him at like 8 for 96. So if you want to take his, if you want to ladder his receptions up, you don't want to lay the juice. I would just go, 7+ or 6+. You can probably get a little bit more, or 7+, 8+. I think you'll get plus money on those. So love Jackson Smith-Njigba in this matchup. Also, Kyler Murray over 256.5 pass plus rushing yards. I think the number is way too low. If you just look at just passing the ball, he finished with 285 in Seattle, and he's gone over in 2 straight. And 4 of his last 6. Seattle's rush defense has been really good as of late since the bye. And Kyler hasn't been using his legs as much. He used them last week, but if you look at his previous 4 or 5 games, he had under 20 yards in 4 of his last 5. So 3 of his last 5. I'm sorry. So I think they'll put the ball in his hands a little bit more here. Connor's been hit a little bit of a wall. That's why you've seen a lot more Benson. Just historically, I mean, he's averaged 241 passing yards in his career versus Seattle, and he's averaged 43 rush yards in his career. So And this is probably the best team that he's had in that time span. So I think this is a little bit short. I think he probably can get this in just strictly just passing yards. And anything rushing is going to be, cake on the top. So over 256.5 pass plus rushing yards, one of my favorite ones of the day as well.
Yeah, last week he had 40.
I think he had 7 for 48.
Yeah, 748 last week against the Vikings. Number right now is sitting at 26.5 just for his rushing yards.
Too low.
Kind of like Geno Smith's on his rushing yards as well. It's at 12.5, but it's almost Jekyll and Hyde with him if we know he's going to take off or not for this Seahawks team. Yeah, I didn't have much else for this game. I was looking at you mentioned Jackson Smith and Jigba. His numbers have been through the roof for the past 5 weeks for this team. So hopefully they keep him involved in this game here. But Trey McBride obviously is a part of this offense, especially this season for the Arizona Cardinals. So I do like him in the spot. Trey McBride on his yardage last 2 weeks, 133 against. He had 133 against the Seahawks a few weeks ago. 15 targets, 12 receptions. Last week, 12 targets, 12 receptions, 96 yards.
So he's killing it.
Yeah, he's crushing it. So if you want to look at his receptions or his yardage to go over, couldn't talk you off of that. Anything else for Seahawks Cardinals?
Nope, that's it.
All right, let's get over to the Buffalo Bills there in LA to take on the Rams. Currently, as it stands, the Bills are laying 3 points. In this game with a total of 49.5. 3.5 is the updated number right now here. But Bills fresh off of the snow game, clinching the AFC East division, heading to the West Coast, getting away from the cold weather. Could be a letdown spot here, but we'll see. What do you got for the Bills and Rams?
Yeah, I think it is a letdown spot. Actually, I like the Rams in the spot. Stafford is going to go, so he's obviously not 100%, but we know how well he plays even with injuries. I like Stafford over 1.5 passing touchdowns. It's at -115. He's over in 5 of his last 6, 14 total in his last 6 games. The O-line getting back healthy has been big for him. It's helped him out a ton as far as protection. Williams running the ball. Cochran actually coming in, running the ball well also. So that's helping out with the play action game and the bootleg game, which McVay loves to use. 4 of the last 7 quarterbacks have thrown 2+ touchdowns versus this Buffalo defense. I stayed away from the yardage because Buffalo is good at limiting quarterbacks yardage-wise. But touchdowns, I think the ball will be in Stafford's hands against his secondary, coming off of that big win. They had actually like 2 or 3 straight weeks of high-leverage games. Coming to a sunny LA, a lot of stuff to do, a lot of distractions. I think the Rams get him. I think Stafford has a big day in the process. So over 1.5 touchdowns for Matthew Stafford.
Yeah, big game here for the Rams. Again, obviously they'll have their eyes and at least have their eyes on the Seahawks and Cardinals, seeing what's going on over there, see if they can make it interesting with the Bills and Rams here. So I didn't have much for him. If you want to look at Kyren Williams out of the backfield, I know running backs, I should say, have had success against the Bills catching the football. So they really haven't used Kyren Williams in the passing game a lot, but obviously we know that he can really run the football very well. Just kind of looking at the numbers here. Last week, we saw a combination of Jordan Mason, Christian McCaffrey, and Isaac Orindo run for a combined 149 rushing yards against the Bills. Early in the season, they were giving up a lot of yardage to the running backs catching the football, but they've done a pretty good job of that over the last 3 weeks. So, yeah, I didn't have much else for this game. All right, let's get over to the Bears and the 49ers. Niners laying 3 points in this game with a total of 43.5. And, of course, for the Niners, it's season's, pretty much over. No Trent Williams today. No Nick Bosa. Obviously, we know about Jordan Mason and Christian McCaffrey being placed on the IR. For the Bears side, I did see questionable tags on DJ Moore and DeAndre Swift in this game. So 3 is a number right now after the first game post Matt Eberflus for the Chicago Bears here, Lonte. What were your thoughts on Bears and Niners?
Yeah, so I like, I know it's popular, but I like Orindo over 72.5 rushing yards. Obviously, the absence of Trent Williams is huge, but they played without him. And I think Orindo has been really good when he's given his opportunity. I mean, and that's the way you want to beat Chicago. They're 30th DVOA versus the run, 10th versus the pass. So I think we see a heavy dose of Correndo. I would look at his carries as well. I think he has north of 20 carries. He's got lightning speed, next level athlete. So I think he'll be able to run through the tackles and outside to get over this number. So over 72.5 rushing yards is what I like the most. But I was sprinkling his carries as well. I think the number should be like 13.5, 12.5, 13.5, something like that. But I would go over that. And we'll go with another running back on the other side. Swift over 73.5 rush plus receiving yards. No Roshan Johnson today, so he should see a ton of volume if he's ruled in. I think he will be ruled in, though.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, 49ers allowing the 9th most receiving yards to running backs. Swift, he's had 2+ receptions in 3 straight. So, I mean, 2 receptions for, 17, 18 yards goes a long way. He's over in 2 of his last 3 without a lot of touches. So I think without Roshan in the game, who takes away those goal line touches and some of the third down possessions, I think Swift sees a high volume here. And I think he could go for like 90 plus here in this spot. So over 73.5 rush plus receiving is one of my better plays today.
Yeah, not having Nick Bosa out there is going to be huge.
Yep.
Or I think I should say bad for the Niners, and I think that only plays into the hands of the Bears in this game here. I think George Kittle steps up in these spots when he sees some of these guys being out. He's been very, very consistent for the San Francisco 49ers. Also do like Caleb Williams on his rushing yards to go up and over the number. I think ever since they did make that offensive coordinator change, he's been utilizing his legs a little bit more. And I think that's something that's going to have to continue to do not only this season, but I think throughout his career, just putting yourself at least in the right spots and just staying ahead of the chains. Last 3 weeks on the ground, 70, 39, and 33 for Caleb Williams. So I think it's another spot here for him to have a pretty good day rushing the football here against the 49ers defense here. That number right now for Caleb Williamson at 23.5. And I know they've done a very good job, have the Niners, of limiting quarterbacks running the football, but I think it's an opportunity here for Williams to really continue running the football here. So do like him in this spot. Let's go over to Sunday Night Football. We've got the Chargers and the Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs laying 4 points in this game with a total of 43 here, Lonte. See the Chargers' latest injury report, because I know big question mark this week was going to be Ladd McConkey for the for the LA Chargers. I think he does end up playing, but the question will become
how effective
he's going to be. He's officially still listed as questionable. That's pretty much it. And then the Chiefs are relatively healthy as well. But any player props you like in this game?
Yeah, so I like 3. I think they're all correlated. So we're going to go Patrick Mahomes under his passing yards. If you want to take his attempts as well, I think that's what the shot. Do you have an updated number? I saw 260.5. I think that might be a little bit higher. I think it might have came down a little bit. I just want to make sure we got an updated one.
For who? I'm sorry?
For Patrick Mahomes, his passing yards?
Passing yards will be...
I saw
246.5.
Jesus, maybe 250.5. I'm sorry. So yeah, he got bet down.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think that's correlated. I think they'll be able to run the ball. Chargers pass defense is really good. We know Kansas City just has been getting by with the run game, the short pass game. They get Pacheco back, who I like over 12.5 rush attempts, minus 120, and over 50.5 rushing yards. We had 7 for 44 last week. This is going to be his backfield. All reports say that he'll get his normal workload. And if you look at what some of the dual threat backs have done against this Chargers defense, Bijan last week, 26 for 102, Henry 24 for 140, Brown 22 for 86. Those are the last 3 versus this Charger defense. So their metrics overall look good, but just the last recent form not been good. I think Pacheco has 15, 16 carries for well over 50.5 yards. So I like those 2, which I think are correlated with Patrick Mahomes under that 240. You said 245.5?
246.5 currently on DraftKings. Let me see if there's a better number out there for Mahomes.
I think he ends with like 225, 226, something like that.
Yeah, 246.5 is pretty much
that's
consensus.
Fine. Yeah, that's fine. I like that under, and I like the Pacheco rush attempts 12.5 over minus 120 and over 50.5 rushing yards.
Yeah, we talked a lot about Tight ends today. I think that Will Disley, I think, is in line for a good game.
Oh yeah, I love Will Disley. Yeah.
Tight ends have been really, really good against the Kansas City Chiefs. His number right now is sitting at 35.5 for Disley. So I think that again, if McConkey is a little bit compromised or not as effective, I think that's a good spot for him. Last week, coming off a game where he only had one target, I think it's an opportunity for him to really shine in the spot here against the Kansas City Chiefs here. So that's the one I did like for this game. Travis Kelce still waiting to break that all-time record, or sorry, I should say franchise record of most receiving touchdowns. Maybe it's this week. I don't know. I've seen a lot of chatter about that. So, get it done on Sunday Night Football here to set that record for the franchise for most receiving touchdowns. So that's what I like for this Chargers and Chiefs game. Anything else for Chargers Chiefs?
That's it.
All right. You got anything for Monday Night Football, Bengals Cowboys?
Man, bet over. I mean,
yeah, I think
like
a lot of the guys I'm looking at it, we're all going to be over. CeeDee Lamb, Jamar Chase, Cooper Rush, passing yards.
I think
Joe
Chase has a big game. Yeah, man, it's gonna be that's gonna be one of those games. That, like I don't, I mean, I know you're probably the same way, but the same game parlays aren't really like my thing or something that's like that's beatable long term.
Sure.
But like in these high scoring games that or totals that you think are going to be high scoring, I think this is value in taking some of those alternate numbers as well. And you can flip it the same way on a game that's going to go under. Like you can go a lot of unders there. So I think as long as you can find something that's correlated, and I think this over and with the player props over and all the points that we're going to see in this game, I think a same game parlay is going to be really effective in this specific game.
Yeah, I like Joe Burrow passing yards over, longest completion to go over. Jamar Chase, I think Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb, like 100+ receiving yards.
Yeah.
Saying SGP, I think is a good spot. All right, so those are the games here for this week. Lonte, let's quickly put together our anytime touchdown parlay, and then we'll wrap it up here with an underdog fantasy entry. All right, who do you like to find the end zone this week?
Cade Otton, man, my number one tight end this week.
All right, we'll go Cade Otton. This is the last week I will throw in Travis Kelce. And which means if he doesn't get it this week and next week, I don't bet on him, he's going to get it next week. So I'll throw in Kelce.
Yeah.
Where is he? Plus 145. All right. Who else do you like?
Is Jefferson even money?
Justin
Jefferson is he even money?
He's minus 110.
Yeah, no, okay. Let's not throw him. What about Calvin Ridley?
Calvin Ridley. Where's the Jags? Jacksonville Jaguars. Where was the game? Ridley's plus 195.
Yeah, like Ridley.
All right, so that's 3, and then let's get one more in here.
Who else did you like?
We like McBride plus 175. Kamara, I paid 2 touchdowns for him would be. I mean, he's gonna be like minus 300 or so. He's minus 185 on his
right.
Anytime.
Trying to find a little bit of a longer shot. I mean, we can't let Sean show us up with the Tim Patrick touchdown.
Yeah, that's true. Trey McBride plus 175.
What about Calvin Austin? What is Calvin Austin?
Calvin Austin. Where's plus 310.
We can do that. Or who else did you like? That was a little bit of a longer shot.
Why the hell did it just close? I clicked on it and it just freaking closed for Calvin Austin.
It's all good.
Let's see. Hold on. Let me refresh here. Let me put this down because I think those odds. Maybe they're updating the odds here. Where do you go? Calvin Austin. I think the whole game just went off the board. Yeah, the whole game just came off the board. Man. I don't know. Let's see. Do we like anybody on the Panther side? I think
Leggett. What about Leggett is too he'll be too low.
Plus 380.
That's not bad. Yeah, let's go Leggett. Let's go Leggett.
All right. Xavier Leggett. Where are you? I just saw him. All right, we'll throw him in there. Cool.
Yeah, let's throw him in there.
All right. So this one turns out to be pretty good. All right, so we got Kelce anytime, Cade on anytime, Calvin Ridley, and Xavier Leggett. That gets you to close to 91-1.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah. All right. So there's our touchdown parlay for this week. And then let's put together our underdog fantasy entry here. for the Week 14 games. All right. So you said Otten was your favorite play this week?
Otten, higher is my favorite. Him. So I got 3. So Otten higher, Will Levis higher, and Jefferson higher. Those are my 3 favorites.
I like Levis this week as well, because I was looking at that as well. So we'll throw him in there. 219 and a half. I like Kamara this week as well.
I like Kamara. I like Kamara too.
Kamara.
You want to take his rush receiving or just rush?
I think both. Let's just do both, because I feel like he can get this. Oh, look who's deciding to play today. Joel Embiid, welcome back. Idiot.
Jesus.
All right, so we'll go rushing and receiving for him. Higher 121 and a half. And then who else do we like? You said Will Levis, kid. I like Otten this week as well. So we'll
I love Otten. I love him. I think he has 100 plus.
Higher and 41.
100 plus and 2 touchdowns.
I think we throw in Bowers as well. Let me see what is 7.5 receptions, 76.5 receiving yards. Let's go yards. All right, there we go. So we'll do a 4 pick entry this week. So we'll go Will Levis higher 213.5. Alvin Kamara rushing and receiving higher 121.5, and Cade Otten higher 41.5. And then we'll go Brock Bowers higher 76.5. That'll be a 10x entry. So every $10 that you do put in, you'll get a return of $100. Make sure you guys use that promo code MACHINE over at underdogfantasy.com. You'll get a first-time deposit offer bonus, I should say, 50% deposit bonus of up to $1,000 for underdogfantasy.com. And that, my friends, will wrap it up for this edition of the NFL Week 14 pregame show. Lonte, anything else you want to mention, my man, before we get out of here?
That's it, man. Best of luck today. I think it's going to be a good day for us. I think we might hit both of these. I'm feeling good about today, about the card today.
Yeah, it should be a fun match or fun Sunday of NFL. So hopefully we did find some winners as far as our player props do go. We're getting kind of tight. We got to get one of these touchdown parlays to get across the line, so we can have a profitable season there. But this one is pretty good for this week. All right, make sure you guys follow my guy Lonte over on the Twitter machine. Excuse me, at XXLonteXX. You can follow me there as well at SportsNerd824. If you haven't already subscribed to the Propcast YouTube channel, please go and do us a favor and smash that subscribe button. Sean and Kramer should be live in about 20 to 25 minutes over on the Sports Gambling Podcast YouTube channel, also on Twitter's, Twitch, if you follow them there as well. So make sure you guys get over there for the pregame show for the SGP. All right, we'll be back next week for the pregame show, Week 15. Look out for us then. Till then, good luck with your bets, and always remember to let it ride.